вышли, все. Ну, нужно и 3 посчитать, да, то, чтобы они красиво шли.
Еще там еще Латвия не ответила.
Ага.
Еще 2 минутки, да. Когда увидим в колоннах этих, раз, два, три, и объявляем.
Здесь кто-то на связи, чтобы двери закрыли за ними.
Нет, это важно, потому что за ним будет только хуйня.
Ну, это нужно кого-то из УДО.
Сейчас я...
Это надо с ребятам сказать.
Надо ребята снимут сейчас.
А вот это, я его не знаю.
Давай посмотрим, может догадается.
Не догадаются, они не такого ответа. Давай Петренко мне пусть. Закрыть двери?
Дякую. Шановні пані та панове, їх високоповажності, президент України Володимир Зеленський, президент Литовської Республіки Гітанас Наусєда, прем'єр-міністр Республіки Хорватія Андрей Пленкович, прем'єр-міністр Латвійської Республіки Евіка Силіня. Виступ президента України.
Дякую, шановні гості України, учасники Кримської платформи, шановний пане президенте Литви, дорогі Танасе, пане прем'єр-міністре Хорватії Андрей, пані прем'єр-міністре Латвії, всі присутні, шановні журналісти. Сьогодні ми проводимо в Україні вже 4-й саміт Кримської платформи, нашої особливої державної інституції, яка змогла повернути і зміцнити глобальну увагу до російської окупації нашого Криму. Саме з цієї окупації почалась російська агресія проти України та усього способу життя, який об'єднує наші народи і держави. Європа для Росії стала мішенью саме тоді.
Become the goal even then in 2014 when Putin seemed that he can steal Crimea, that he can steal Crimea. Thanks to Crimea platform, thanks to all of our diplomatic efforts, thanks to the resistance of our people, our warriors, we are forcing Russia to reality, that is to international law, the force of international solidarity, and also the necessity to restore in Ukraine the full justice and the reliable peace, finally, for the whole planet of Earth, for all of our people. I'd like to thank you, dear partners and dear friends, to Lithuania, Croatia, Latvia, and all of our partners who are actively helping to counter Russian aggression and to make real peace closer. Today, in the Summit of Crimea platform, we have the participants of more than 60, and I thank each of the leaders and each of the countries, each international organizations for this high representation. The Crimea platform is really increasing the force of Ukraine in all of the senses, in particular in the diplomatic sphere. Russia should see, and it definitely sees, that the world does not stop in the movement to restore justice. So, dear friends, I would like to mention the efforts and help of each of the leaders of each of the countries who are here now. Lithuania. Mr. President, I would like to express my gratitude to you for your steadfast belief in us, in our country, in our defense, and the principal help of Lithuania, which helps us since the first hours of the invasion. Latvia, Ms. Prime Minister, I thank you, your country, and your society that you're really trying to make real peace closer and the whole Europe, and you help strengthen our protection. Tomorrow we'll have bilateral negotiations in the format of Ukraine, Lithuania, Ukraine, Latvia, and I'm sure that our meetings, as always, will be full of sense. Croatia, Mr. Prime Minister, I would like to thank you for today's negotiations, for and for the support. We help you for all of the packages of defense support. We have the new package from Croatia today, and we have rather powerful cooperation in different spheres. I'd like to mention the help of Croatia in the treatment and rehabilitation of Ukrainian soldiers, our warriors, and the children of our defenders. Ukraine is grateful for such a warm reflection of our relations, and we value the experience of Croatia in the ascension to the EU and its readiness to share this expertise with us. And also I'd like to mention about your support, Mr. Plenković, and the whole country of Croatia for Ukraine on our way to the EU and NATO. And we can see that how important it is not to have any lack of security. We have discussed in details with Mr. Prime Minister which further common steps can be done for the protection of Ukraine and whole Europe. We've discussed common manufacturing, in particular demining devices. It is important for us to see a leadership in this sphere, in demining, and we remember that the first international conference on humanitarian demining took place last year in Croatia exactly. Dear friends, I would like to express my gratitude for your visit, for your support. We thank you and all the participants of Crimea platform. We'll definitely win. We need to do that. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes.
Statement by the President of the Republic of Lithuania.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It was an honor to participate in the 4th summit of the International Crimea Platform. I'm grateful to His Excellency, the President of Ukraine, dear friend Volodymyr, for this opportunity. This year, the summit holds special significance. 10 years since the start of Russia's military aggression, the occupation and annexation of Crimea still defines our reality. This war is growing ever more brutal and dangerous. By choosing the path of crime in 2014, Russia has forsaken its place within the international community and every year has sunk deeper into a self-made hole. Today, we are here to help Ukraine. Lithuania will never recognize the occupation and illegal annexation of Crimea and other Ukrainian territories. We will always demand that Russia starts respecting the international law, stops persecuting the population of occupied territories, including the Crimean Tatars, and withdraws to internationally recognized borders, ending this 10-year war. Recognizing both the great suffering of the Ukrainian nation and the immense geopolitical significance of its brave resistance, we will support it for as long as it takes. The Crimea platform remains essential for uniting international forces in defense of international law and human dignity. It brings hope that the world has learned the hard lessons of the first half of the 20th century, when two totalitarian regimes were allowed to forcibly redraw European borders, bringing down the whole international order. Lithuania calls on international organizations to be more outspoken about Russia's illegal occupation and ongoing human rights abuses in Crimea and other occupied territories. We also support the creation of the Special International Tribunal to prosecute those responsible for the crime of aggression. Finally, we demand that Russia and its accomplices be held accountable for the well-documented human rights abuses and war crimes. All this is not only about the past, it is also about our present and our future. If we want to live in a safer, more just and stable world, we must find ways to punish those responsible for undermining the current global order. Thank you.
Statement by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Croatia.
Good day, President Zelensky, President Nauseda, Prime Minister Selina, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me express my gratitude for the invitation of President Zelensky to again visit Kiev at the occasion of the 4th International Crimean Platform Summit, and also thank him for the bilateral meetings that we had earlier today. This summit, after the 10 years of the illegal occupation and annexation of Crimea, certainly serves to increase the awareness of the international community of this issue and the general aggression of Russia against Ukraine. I think that the messages that we heard from key political global leaders at this summit were very encouraging and very important, because they reiterated our insistence on the respect for international law, our strong condemnation of all the crimes and atrocities which were committed against Ukraine, its people, but in particular a series of criminal offenses at the territory of the Crimean Peninsula against Ukrainian population and against the population of the Crimean Tatars. Croatia would like to once more greet the bravery and the heroic sacrifice of the Ukrainian people, of Ukrainian soldiers, appreciate the leadership and the resilience of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian government for such a long time during the intensive aggression of Russia against their homeland. We have strongly supported all of your efforts, expressed our solidarity as a country who has itself been a victim of aggression 3 decades ago, and we know exactly how these multiple consequences are having effects on your institutions, your people, your economy, your society, and most of all on the families of those who have passed away and lost their lives for the freedom of Ukraine. We shall continue to assist you and help you with the military assistance, with political assistance, with our diplomatic initiatives, and we are very happy to host you in Dubrovnik at the beginning of October, where we shall hold a summit between Ukraine and the countries of Southeast Europe. We shall also support you in rebuilding your energy sector, in providing you specific know-how that Croatia has when it comes to demining. This is a huge task, and that's why we hosted the first International Donors Conference on demining last year in Croatia. And, of course, something that few other countries can provide you, and that is the expertise of our state prosecutors, our judges, our specialized police units for the prosecution of war crimes. We are, of course, hosting your refugees in Croatia. We are hosting your war veterans and the wounded in our hospitals and in our veteran centers, and we shall continue to do that, as well as to host groups of Ukrainian children that visit Croatia and the Adriatic in the course of the year, and in particular during summer. This is my first visit to Kyiv in my third mandate as a Prime Minister, and I would like to reiterate Croatia's friendship, partnership and respect to you, President, to the Ukrainian people, and you can count on Croatia on all issues that you are facing here today. Thank you very much.
Statement by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Latvia.
Dear President Zelensky, dear Volodymyr, dear Ukrainians and friends of Ukraine, I'm glad to be here in Kyiv to participate in person at the Crimea Platform Summit. We are here to confirm that Crimea is Ukraine. We are here to confirm that Ukraine will win and Russia will lose this terrible war. Latvia will continue to support Ukraine. This and the following years, Latvia's annual military support to Ukraine will be 0.25% of our GDP. Today, we introduce our third military support package for this year, and that will include military equipment and supplies, including company-size armored vehicles and drones. And definitely, we will continue training and equipping more than 4,000 Ukrainian soldiers this year and next year. We are already preparing our next package of 2025, and I can say that it will include Patria vehicles, drones, equipment, and training as well. Whereas Latvian government institutions, municipalities, non-governmental institutions, companies, and Latvian people in general continue to support Ukrainians. We are supporting children who are suffering, women who have suffered from war, and we will continue to do so. Because Russia continues to attack the cities and people of Ukraine and energy infrastructure. These attacks have one aim: to try to freeze Ukrainians and to make them stop defending Ukraine. But they will not succeed. Latvia will support also Ukraine in its electricity production by providing generators and other material. The most recent assistance is solar panels and equipment for 500 households, and we will support it to Chernihiv region. In October, Latvia will host the third parliamentary summit of the International Crimea Platform in Riga. We strongly believe that Ukraine's future lies in just peace, security, and prosperity among other allies and partners in Euro-Atlantic community. Slava Ukraini!
Шановні журналісти,
Dear media representative, this is your time to put questions. Please, live.
Да, дякую, Галина Остаповець, новини Лайв. Оскільки
Thank you, Halina Ostapovets. As we are at the Crimea platform, the first question, Mr. President, is about the Crimea. During the last 5 years, Russia released only one Crimean Tatar. Why is this process that complicated about the population of Crimea? And do you support do you know about the long-range missiles provided by Iran to Russia, and how do your countries are they ready to provide us support, and whether you mind the support against the countries which act against Russia? Thank you for your questions.
Вони в цілому складно ідуть.
Well, these are complicated.
Наших політичних,
This is the complicated way to release our political prisoners, including
безумовно, кримських татар.
the Crimean Tatars.
Ідуть обміни щодо
We
військових.
have exchanges of POWs, because as for POWs, they can be exchanged for other POWs. But as for Crimean Tatars, you know that they are illegally detained as well as other political prisoners, journalists, artists, film directors. You know those people who were just speaking truth. They used to believe, they are believing in freedom, and they were fighting with their words, with their truth, with their art. So that is why it is hard to bring them back home. So we need to have the pressure from all of the partners to see the proper system of exchange, everyone for everyone, whatever happens, because otherwise, so far, it is hard to do it in a different way. We are working through our partners. You know that we are working through OAE and Qatar and Turkey. We are working with Azerbaijan, with all of the countries which have huge offices of representatives, and the Muslim countries as well, who have influence. But so far, the success is how we can see it. So far, we are the only ones who can take Crimean Tatars. By the way, it's not the only case, as you said. Yes, maybe during the last 5 years, yes, that was the only person. First, we released and took back home the exchange. During the exchange, we took our, in fact, sailors, including Crimean Tatars. That was in the beginning. But yes, you're right. It was before the full-scale invasion. We are working on that. Thank you. As for the Iranian missiles, we got the same information as we could see in media about Iranian missiles without any details. As for numbers, maybe you could see a bit more than we can have open information from the partners. I got this information from our partners, not from the intelligence service. But so far, I cannot confirm whether those missiles were used. I can only confirm that when we have evidence, as much as it used to be with North Korea about the missiles and the use of North Korean artillery shells. Here we just know that they use a huge number of Iranian drones. As I already emphasized, there is the license according to which Russia is producing Iranian drones on their own territory. As for the use of Iranian missiles, there are no more details so far. And what was the third question? Our partners. Yes, please.
Okay, I think this is a target of Russia, just to break the resistance, to break the resistance psychologically, to intimidate the people, and to break the will to resist. And this is the reason, and you know, this reminds me very much the history of my own country, 1940, as the occupation and annexation of Lithuania led to mass deportations, oppressions, and this is very important to stay united and support our friend, our deep friend Ukraine, not only militarily, not only economically, but also psychologically. And this is the reason why we came here, we gathered here today, in order to express our support, and especially to express our commitment to continue our support, no matter what will be going on the battlefield. Lithuania stays together with Ukraine until the victory. And yes, we have to talk much more internationally about the human rights abuses in the Crimea Peninsula especially, and I call on the international organizations to do that.
Стосовно другого запитання, чи
About the second question, there will be any other answers?
The thoughts of President Nauseda, our position is very clear, and that's why we have extensively multiple packages over the last 2.5 years militarily helped substantially Ukraine. We shall continue to, with our contribution, strengthen its defense capacities, because only the one that is strong can defend itself and liberate its occupied territories. At the same time, as the rest of the international community, especially the West, we are willing to support the peace initiatives which will bring peace, but not any peace, just peace that respects territorial integrity of Ukraine. That is what Croatia was standing for when it was her own destiny at stake 3 decades ago, and that is the only message we can send as a friend to Ukraine today.
I just can add as well to what has been already said. We understand how difficult it's probably for President to deal actually with refugees and to get people back from occupied territories, because there are no democratic values in opposite side. So all the deals which have to be made should be made in a very, very difficult manner. That's why I understand that the situation is not easy, but probably we don't need to explain that Latvia, Baltic states are supporting Ukraine. We are. That's why we are ready to organize a third parliamentary summit of Crimea platform in Riga this autumn. We understand that we need to use any platform, UN, NATO, to explain to all the countries what actually is going on here in Ukraine, what Russia is doing, and that's why I have spoken with many leaders which are not maybe members of European Union. I have used UN platform to explain to Southern African countries what actually Russia is doing and how they're trying to buy votes for their gain with kind of different proposals to those countries, and that we share the same history with other countries as well. We are not a big country, but we gain our freedom. So, and we are a neighboring country with Russia and Belarus, and I'm using our history, our people's strength, that it is possible to get independence, not only as a state, but as well from energy sources for their financial sources. It is not an easy way, but it is doable.
HRT next. Can you see HRT, please?
HRT, please.
Okay, I have a question for the Croatian Prime Minister and also for President Zelensky. Can I ask in English? Okay. Prime Minister, you announced a new package of military aid to Ukraine. Are you afraid, because of that Croatia could become a target for a Russian malign hybrid, any kind of bad influence? You are the Prime Minister, you get the reports from the Security and Intelligence Agency. Have you noticed anything in those reports? And for President Zelensky, have you heard about a peace plan, so-called, from German Chancellor Scholz? Italian newspaper said that in that peace plan there is a segment which says that Ukraine cedes the territories occupied by Russia. Has Olaf Scholz spoken to you about that? Thank you.
As far as our assistance is concerned, as I said, this is 11th or even 12th package of military assistance. When you have friends in need, then one shows its friendship, its solidarity, and its support concretely. That's what we are doing. This is what we shall be continuing doing in the future, despite any of the threats that you might refer to. Croatia is a member of NATO, member of the European Union, country that knows when is the right moment to help our friends, and we are doing it now, and we shall continue to do it in the future.
Thank you for the question. As for the peace plan of Scholz, I don't know anything about that. There cannot be any plans without Ukraine about Ukraine. And I'm not sure that even such plan exists. And as for the second part, I did not understand what you mean. Some Italian newspaper? It wrote, the Italian newspaper wrote that some plan exists and that's it? There was no other question? That's it? Okay. I don't know.
Наступне запитання, будь ласка.
The next question, please, Latvian TV, please.
In the middle.
Дуже дякую.
Thank you so much.
Sit down because my cameraman will not be happy if I stand. My question, please, to Mr. Zelensky. Today there is Mr. Blinken in the city, and we know that the question about possibility to let Ukraine use long-range missiles to target objects in Russia is on the air. How optimistic are you that he will let you do so, America, I mean United States, and how decisive that decision would be for Ukraine? And second question from my radio colleague, Indra Sprance, who is also here. How would you evaluate so far effectively of drone coalition, which is led by Latvia, how effective it was so far? And my question is also to our Prime Minister, Mrs. Silina. How, the same question from my radio colleague, how would you see how effective so far has been drone coalition guided by Latvia? And also, did you have a chance to talk with colleagues and also with Ukrainian colleagues about recent accident in our soil that Shahed drone entered Latvia territory and was a couple of times there? So did you have a chance to talk about how to secure our airspace more? Thank you.
Secretary Blinken. Yes, he was invited to participate in Crimean platform. That's why he's here. I will have a little bit later dialogue with him and with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Kingdom. I don't know the details of our conversation. I'll be ready to be open and, of course, honest after these consultations. And if I'm optimistic about their decision to give us permission to use long distance, it's a pity it doesn't depend on my optimism. It depends on their optimism. Let's count on some strong decisions, at least. For us, it's very important for today. Anyway, I will tell you after the meeting. And anyway, I'm counting on my dialogue with President Biden this month. But our dialogue, our each week's or each month's dialogue with the United States, with their side, is very important for us because they give us and gave us the biggest support, military and financial, so the biggest. So we count on it, and really we can't prevail without it. About coalition of drones, thanks again to your country for this coalition and all other partners who joined it to this coalition. I think the effectiveness of drones you can see on the battlefield. We see now the result, and it's very important. Sometimes it's when you have big deficit or gap in these packages, drone with artillery, with rounds, especially 155, NATO standard rounds. Of course, drones help very much and helped already to save our people, our soldiers, first of all. And but we need money to increase our production. We have these capabilities. And I shared all this information on Ramstein last one when I had this meeting, and with, by the way, with Scholz, I had a meeting and with all our partners. So today, Ukrainians factories ready to increase, to double our production. Some companies, private companies, they're ready to do their best and 5 times bigger production. They can, they're ready, but we don't have enough money in our budget to use it. So we are asking our partners to help us with financing. It's so important because we are cheaper and we are quicker. Thank you.
Yes, by answering the question, I have not yet had a chance to discuss our drone. Sure, here, mainly with Prime Minister, I met with Prime Minister Shmyhal. We mainly discussed Ukrainian issues and maybe not so much Latvia's. But this is one of the already known phenomena in Europe, especially on the eastern flank, that those drones which are happily not landed in Ukraine happen to rely around the Eastern European flank. And as I have explained in Latvia's mass media already, we will actually check out how we can change and make more efficient our procedures, but definitely we have already informed our NATO allies, and we will raise this question in a NATO level as well. But it's true that this is a phenomena, and we will need to deal with those issues. Sure, we have, this is Latvian issue, we have agreed and we have agreements on our air defense, but still there are lines onto it, and we understand that Ukraine is top priority right now, but we're doing everything possible to defend ourselves. About drone coalition, you heard President Zelensky. We are co-leading with UK, the drone coalition with 14 member states. And we have supplied different drones already to Ukraine. And next package of 12 million of value are coming. But it's true that we need to find a cooperation probably with Ukrainians, how they can produce themselves and how our companies can work together, maybe even here on Ukrainian land if they're agreeing, because those are private companies mainly. And if it's possible, we probably will meet tomorrow with President Zelensky privately. We hadn't have a chance today yet to discuss such issues. Thank you.
Будь ласка, останнє запитання, Bloomberg.
The question to Mr. President of Ukraine. You mentioned that you have prepared the plan of victory and would like to present it. Could you please describe it overall, how it can be compared to your peace plan? You said that you would be ready to present it to both candidates towards the presidents of the US. Did you have a deal to meet with Ms. Harris and Mr. Trump? And the second question, there is lots of information about possible negotiations with Russians, which is also coming from the countries which Ukraine is cooperating with, like Turkey or Qatar. Whether those are serious conversations, and when could that happen? As for the victory plan, let me discuss that with President Biden first, because mostly it depends on the support of the United States and other partners, of course. But I think that everybody understands there is the volume of impact and help and support. That is why we cannot just add anything here, no extra words, because it's obvious why I will do that in this order, discussing the plan. And the second one, the second point about why this plan exists. This is the plan to strengthen, a substantial strengthening of Ukraine, and in my opinion, it will have, by the way, also a psychological and political and diverse impact, even about ammunition and weapons, onto the decisions of Russia to end this war. This plan will definitely should be presented before the second peace summit, so that we could force Russia to diplomatic end of war. If the partners support it, it will definitely force Russia to end the war. That is overall. But as for the talks with Russians, to speak with Russians, someone has authorities to do that. I personally did not give any authorities to do that. Dear journalists, thank you so much for your questions. Mr. Presidents and Prime Ministers, thank you for the answers. This is the end of the press conference.
I'm so sorry I didn't watch. Sorry.
Okay, let's end it here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Maybe a little bit later I will see some brief, and I say, how was it? Interesting? Great? But don't tell me what was at the end. Otherwise it will not be interesting me to see. Watch. Okay. Bye-bye.
I didn't see it either. We were on a train.
Шановні журналісти, поки ви всі тут, ембарго 17:30, нагадую. Dear colleagues, dear journalists, while you're still all here, embargo is 17:30, 5:30.